Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to talk about what Fortnite monetization, what Fortnite microtransactions get right. I'm not going to talk about Fortnite as a game, but rather I'm going to focus on this money-making aspect, how Fortnite makes money. So with this, Fortnite was the top earning game in the past 2 years, with $2.4 billion in revenue in 2018 and $1.8 billion in revenue in 2019, which is, just an insane amount of money. So it's really hard to argue with that success. More interesting to me than how Fortnite has made this money is what Fortnite has not done, and that it's not made its microtransactions, it's not made its in-game purchases predatory in any way. So let's talk about what makes so many games with microtransactions predatory and how Fortnite has avoided that while still being one of the most successful games of all time. For those of you that don't know, Fortnite is free to play and it makes money off its item shop, but Fortnite has no pay to win mechanic. So how does pay to win usually work? Pay to win usually works by reducing grind or giving some exclusive powerful items or buffs to people that pay with real world cash. Lots of free to play games will trick you in by making the first part of the game really fun and relatively grind free. And then as you sort of are invested in the game, as you're committed, you'll just hit this wall. So you've had a lot of fun, you're committed, and you hit this period of slow progression. And they offer you a cheap option, maybe it's a couple bucks in order to get past this barrier and speed up your progression, speed through this grind. And so you take that, but the next barrier, the next wall is even harder. So you have to spend even more money to pass that. And next thing you know, the barriers are getting harder and harder and harder. You have to spend more and more money to progress until you just have to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars in order to keep up. And so, of course, the problem with this is that it's, predatory. Pay to win doesn't really add any value or enjoyment to these games. And it often ruins the game experience because you can only pay your way to the top. It ruins the notion of investing time in order to improve the game. It ruins the notion of your skill, your gameplay sort of being the driver of the rank. And it creates these artificial barriers, this artificial grind for the sole purpose of coercing money out of you instead of making the game more enjoyable, more fun to play. Of course, pay-to-win games can have different levels of severity. So for example, I reviewed Dauntless last week, and I think it has a mild amount of pay-to-win that can mostly be ignored. Obviously I'd prefer it not be there. It leaves a slight sour taste in my mouth, but all things considered, it's a very fine amount of pay-to-win in the game. But Fortnite avoids all of this common method of monetizing a free-to-play game. There's no grinding reduced, there's no better stats, there's no better loot, there's nothing along those lines that can be achieved by spending real world money. The money you spend exclusively goes to skins or in-game challenges and stuff to do with the battle pass. You could be the best Fortnite player in the world without spending a single cent. Not spending money won't affect your progress towards that goal. This works for Fortnite because now anyone can play the game without spending money. It won't hurt them. This allows Fortnite's biggest following, kids, to play without spending money they don't have. Of course, Fortnite does eventually want to get money out of them. It often does. It's very profitable. But having people who won't spend money be able to play equally with their friends who do spend money makes more people play the game, makes it more of a social environment, and improves Fortnite longevity by giving it a sense of community. People play a game together, they play the game longer, they're more likely to spend money, they're more likely to buy skins in the item shop. So the other super common predatory practice that Fortnite has avoided that a lot of other free-to-play games implemented is gambling. Gambling mechanics can be of sort of varying degrees and sort of implementations. So some pay-to-win games have gambling mixed in. So if you want to have a top competitive deck in Hearthstone every single season, you have to buy a bunch of card packs. If you're one of those poor players who's a fan of FIFA Ultimate Team, you are in bad luck. That is another huge offender along these lines of randomized card packs that you need these players and these card packs are to create your own team, but you just never know what you're going to get. Of course, there are other games as well that are not pay to win, but still have some gambling mechanics in them. So for example, in Overwatch, you can gamble for skins through these loot boxes, and these skins don't affect gameplay in any single way besides how your characters look, but they don't give you any sort of competitive advantage. There's no grind reducing. There's not really any grind in Overwatch anyways, but there's no competitive advantage for buying these skins. There are some anti-RNG countermeasures in a lot of these games. There's some mechanics sort of hedge your bets, sort of hedge against this gambling. So for example, in Overwatch, if you get a skin repeated, you get the skin buying currency you can use to buy, other skins. Or in Hearthstone, you can use some unwanted cards to make other cards that you actually want. But these countermeasures don't change the fact that Blizzard and EA and a lot of other game companies want you to spend hundreds of dollars. They want you to spend a ton of money and not get the cards, not get the skins, not get the players that you want. They want you to not get those cards, not get those skins, because they want you to feel the need to keep buying more packs. They want you to keep buying more loot crates. They want you to keep trying and trying to get what you actually want. It's like a little casino in a game, but the prize is certain skins or cards instead of real money. And like a real life slot machine, like a real life casino, you really don't know the odds of getting what you want. You don't know the odds of winning because the developers, rarely publish those rates. And so you keep buying these loot packs, keep buying these card packs with the hopes of getting something that you want. You really don't even know what the chances of getting it are. And it works. FIFA Ultimate Team, which is the game mode that has loot boxes, has made EA $1.4 billion in the past year, which is almost 30% of EA's $5 billion revenue. So that's an insane amount of money considering how big EA is as a company and how many games it sells to make up 30% of that. This gambling practice is incredibly profitable for a lot of companies despite its anti-consumer nature and practice. But this inclusion of gambling in games has gotten some pushback, such as with Star Wars Battlefront. In fact, EA's comment where they sort of defended these practices, defended these loot boxing games, is the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. And Belgium even banned these in-game loot boxes completely a couple years ago, calling them a form of illegal gambling, which is totally fair because they are a form of gambling in games. However, bringing it back to Fortnite has no gambling whatsoever in the Battle Royale mode. There's no gambling, there's no loot boxes, there's nothing along those lines. All the skins are priced as they are, and what you see is exactly what you get. That upfront honesty and sort of directness of the item shop is really appreciated when you have a sea of games who are adding in these gambling or surprise mechanics, as EA called them, that just take advantage of the consumer. And frankly, it's just more enjoyable to consumers to sort of, know what you're actually paying for, to get what you actually want when you're paying the money. And people clearly will spend their money to get these skins without gambling. Again, Fortnite is the most profitable game for the last 2 years. So it works for Epic, it works for Fortnite, and other games really take note and stop this sort of casino in a game that is so prevalent across free-to-play games, or even paid games. Again, FIFA, Overwatch are both paid games. It's a little ridiculous to pay for a game and also have these gambling mechanics inside. So now let's talk about V-Bucks themselves. So perhaps you've noticed or wondered why every single mobile game, every free-to-play game has some sort of virtual premium currency along the lines of platinum or gens or something like shiny valuable metal bucks or something like that. So one of the reasons is actually because it's a psychological trick, of course, to get you to spend more money. So when you have this intermediate currency between your dollars and buying something, you don't feel like you're spending money. The skin isn't $10, it's 1,000 V-Bucks. Or this instant army in a pay-to-win mobile game isn't $20, it's 5,000 shiny valuable metal bucks or whatever the currency is. But here again, I appreciate that Epic did this in the most consumer-friendly way possible. So a lot of virtual currencies have unintuitive exchange rates. For example, in Guild Wars 2, $10 gets you 800 gems. Now, if you see something in the item shop that's 1,350 gems, you have to pull out your calculator or do some mental math to figure out how much money you're actually spending. With Fortnite, because it's a ratio of 1-to-1 cents to V-Bucks or $1 is 100 V-Bucks, it's much easier to keep track of how much money you're actually spending. You don't have to pull up a calculator, you don't have to do mental math, so there's less psychological manipulation there. So here again, Epic refuses to use potential manipulation tactics, potential psychological tricks in order to make more money. And again, I do appreciate that. But what about the prices? I think one of the bigger, more valid complaints about the Fortnite item shop is the price of the skins. So some of the skins are cheaper, but some of them are more expensive. It can go for $10 or $20 for a full skin or a full skin set when you include the skin itself, the pickaxe, the emote, the backpack, all the stuff in there can go pretty expensive. However, I think it's important to keep in mind that the battle pass itself is much cheaper. It's a much better skin per dollar deal. It's about $10. It gives you 6 or so full skin sets back, and it even gives you back the money you spent on it. So you can buy one battle pass and have a battle pass forever, which can be, 30 skins for $10, which is really not that bad of a price at all. And importantly, you can keep playing the same game with your friends without having to spend any money or while spending very little money for years. You don't need to buy a new $60 COD game every year. You don't have to pay some MMO subscription fee or anything like that. So you buy a couple skins, it's probably along that price, and it's really not too bad as long as you don't feel the need to buy every single skin in the item shop. But if you do feel the need to buy every skin in the item shop, the problem is probably the impulse of spending and not the price of the skins themselves. So overall, I think Epic does a really good job making Fortnite very consumer friendly, all things considered. Of course, Fortnite does use some psychological tricks to encourage you to spend money. The artificial scarcity of the item shop is probably one of the more notable examples of this, because you have only a short amount of time to buy each skin before it goes away every day or every couple days. You feel like you have to buy it now, otherwise you can never get it ever again. But as a whole, I appreciate that Fortnite manages to be the most successful game of the past few years, one of the most successful games of all time, without resorting to some of the more predatory, some of the more toxic, some of the more anti-consumer microtransactions and monetization practices of the gaming industry at large. There's no overpriced DLC, there's no unfinished base game, there's no pay to win, and there's no gambling with real world money. And I think all of this is especially important because Fortnite's main audience is kids who might be particularly vulnerable to these sort of things. And for all these things, I appreciate that Epic has showed us that you can have a widely successful game, the most profitable game for years in a row, doesn't take advantage of people. And going forward, I hope that more developers can follow in their footsteps instead of making games that try to milk you for all your cash without providing any value. So what do you guys think about the current state of microtransactions in video games? Are they less predatory than I'm making them out to be? Does Fortnite deserve less credit than I'm giving it in this video? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to see some more gaming takes like this. And check out some of my reviews that I'll link in the description below. So yeah, thanks for watching.